Okay, so today is August 30th and we're gonna check out my red wiggler and European nightcrawler worm bin. So I kind of did look through this a little bit earlier, but I just wanted to show you guys how it's looking and how things are in this bin. It's been a while since I posted a video, so forgive me for being a little rusty. Anyways, so for this bin I added a bunch of grass clippings. Right now where we are, we rent, but I do cut the grass to help the landlords out a bit and to kind of just, you know, help maintain the yard and stuff. So I did that, and then I let the grass sit for a few days so it got nice and dry. This made a huge difference in this bin. So I actually covered the whole top layer with the short dried grass, and that helped to maintain the moisture in there. I also cover it, you know, with like a paper bag like this, and that helps do the same. I'll put something heavy on it to keep it down, but every time I lift this thing up, the worms are all up in there. So it's looking good with the grass so far. I do feed it just as I can, and whenever I go, you know, to a store or something, like if I stop by McDonald's for a soda or nuggets or something, I'll actually ask them for an extra drink carrier, and that's what these are. Excuse me. I will break those down and tuck them into the bottom of the worm bin, and the worms really seem to like it, especially when they're folded up. When I open them, there's a bunch of worms in there, and I think it's because they really like the moisture that stays in the drink trays. So when I go through it and I see something hard, I'll also pick that out. And right now, every once in a while you'll see me grab something and put it to the side. I'm actually collecting some of the cocoons, the worm cocoons, and I'm putting them into my garden tower so the worm population can build up there too. That garden tower actually works really well for the worms, because I just, you know, I dump stuff in there and leave it for a while, and every time I harvest the castings from that, like the compost that comes out, the castings, it's so beautiful, rich, black, no smell, and a bunch of worms. So that's doing really well. Anyways, I'm gonna move more of this dried grass and stuff over to the side. You can see some of the worms that are in here. Let's see. Dig down, see if we can find any worms. What's this? Oh, it's a collard green stem. Okay, so here's some worms. I haven't really had too many huge worm balls, but I haven't given them a huge feeding recently, so they're kind of scattered throughout the bin, but they're definitely loving this dried grass. Let's see. And again, this is European nightcrawler and red wiggler bin. It seems like they don't mind being together. I also have two other bins, but they're mixed. So they have European night crawlers, red wigglers, the Indian blues, and some of the Hawaii rainbow worms in there. And of course those bins get processed the fastest because they're loaded with worms. There's a lot of cocoons in this bin. I already took so many cocoons and put them in the tower, but there's still so many left. Yeah, these guys are really happy. The moisture level seems perfect in here. Nice and moist, but nobody's drowning. Nobody's dry. It's looking really good so far. Hey. For a while I was struggling because we don't have a lot of eggshells on a regular basis. I do have one of my friends will actually, she cooks a lot and she uses a lot of eggs, and every once in a while we'll meet up, or she's been bringing it over here, her eggshells, and I'll clean it out or bake it for a little bit and blend them up and make powder. But that doesn't happen often enough recently anyway for it to be something I can rely on for grit. So I was struggling a little bit to figure out what I could use, and I happened to hear Marty from Marty's Garden talk about how he uses his coffee grounds as grit for his worms. Now, I wasn't sure if that would work, but I tried it. I've been putting coffee grounds into the bins, and ever since I've been doing that regularly, I haven't found any worms with protein poisoning. I haven't found what's that called, chain of pearls or string of pearls, when they get all bubbly up and everything because they couldn't process their food. So the coffee ground seems to be working really, really well. I'm so thankful for that. So thank you, Marty. I love your channel. But yeah, so everything's looking nice. The moisture level is good. The grass is definitely a positive. No smell coming from this bin, and the amount of cocoons is just awesome. So things are looking good. I do shred some paper and stuff and stick that in there, but I'm sure they wouldn't mind like a nice feeding of some fruit scraps or something, because they don't get regular feedings with us. Not as often as I'd like anyway, but they're doing really well. So you see I've got some shredded paper, some cocoons here. Some of these worms have awesome tails. Look at this one. Look at that long yellow tail. Wow. Yeah, this is my favorite bin. Out of all three of the bins that I have, this is definitely my favorite. Got some avocado skins. Let's see. Let's dig down on this side a little bit. Yeah, look at that. And you can see all the bugs helping to maintain the system, help break everything down. Look at this little baby. This really is one of my favorite pastimes, coming and checking on the worm bins and just observing, seeing how everybody's doing, making sure I don't see any protein poisoning going on, or no drowning. to give them some oxygen. Hey, I found a blue, I think. Where did you go? Yep. I just found one of the Indian blues in here. I'll toss them into the mix bin real quick. Bye. Wow, yeah. There's a lot of cocoons in the grassy parts. Looking good. We have these, we have lizards over here, you know, geckos. They're called mo'o. They hang around when I dig through the worm bin because they think that's going to be their shot to run in and grab a snake. See, this bin isn't even processed 100%, but just this right here, like I could totally put this around some plants, around some seedlings and stuff, and that would already provide like so many benefits, like with the nutrients. It could be, you know, a mulch, keep that moisture in, keep the plants nice and cool on these hot days over here. It's been really hot lately. I know it's raining right now, but right before the rain comes, it gets so muggy and hot. Yeah, this looks really good. I'm happy with this so far. I'm thinking about maybe putting more of the grass down on the bottom too. But I mean, it's really helping on the top, so I don't know yet. I'm not sure. Something really cool happened recently. So I don't know if you've ever heard of something called Share Waste. It's actually a website, sharewaste.com. People go on there and you can either, you know, put in that you want to donate food scraps or that you want to collect it. And when I first found it, I looked into it, I looked at all the Hawaiian Islands. I actually didn't see very many people on there. I think there were 2 other people on this island, and they were looking to collect food scraps. So anyways, I ended up sharing the sharewaste.com like flyer thing. They have a cool digital flyer, like a PDF. And a while after, I ended up getting a message from someone, and she was like, hey, you know, I have food scraps and some paper products I would love to share with you. So I went back onto Share Waste and I saw more people on there. I don't know if it's related to me sharing or not, but I was stoked when I saw more people had started using the program. But yeah, I ended up getting back to her, and she brought the food scraps and paper products all the way to my house. So that week the worms got a really killer feeding, and they all got so fat. So you should check it out, sharewaste.com. It's a really, really cool program. You can link up with people, and yeah, I was super stoked on that. But hey, look at this little one. Anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to share this bin with you guys, and hopefully that tip about the coffee grounds will help someone, because if you don't have eggshells all the time, coffee grounds can be used as a great source for your worms. It actually does work. So I mean, if you have a local Starbucks or Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, you can go by and, you know, hey, just ask them if they have some coffee grounds, some spent grounds, and most of the time they'll be happy to just give you some. I know Starbucks used to take the coffee grounds and put them in bullets, like the silver bags that they used to get their French roast in. Hey, is that another blue? Yep. And they used to put it on the side with a label like, you know, free for your garden. I haven't seen that recently, but you can try any place, any coffee shop, just swing by and ask them for grounds, and I'm sure they'll be happy to share some. I keep wanting to dig more, but I'm gonna cover this guy up with the bag, and then put a little plastic one over that to help more with retaining moisture, and wrap this up. So thanks for hanging out. I appreciate your time. Please hit that like button at the bottom. I would also really appreciate if you shared my video. It might help somebody out with their worm farm. And subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. I don't have a huge subscriber base, but I would like to build that up so I can share more videos. And, you know, if you have any tips for worm farming, making compost at home, any tips for the garden, I would love to hear it. So yeah, write to me down below, share my video, message me if you have questions. Thanks for hanging out. Aloha.